On this week's Audiobook Club, we're going undercover with investigative journalist Erwin M. Fletcher.
Erwin Fletcher, I have a proposition to make to you. I will give you $1,000 for just listening to it. If you decide to reject the proposition, you take the $1,000, go away, and never tell anyone we talked. Fair enough? Is it criminal? I mean, what you want me to do? Of course. Fair enough. For $1,000, I can listen. What do you want me to do? I want you to murder me.
Hello, I'm Steve Phillips, and welcome to another episode of Audiobook Club. Joining me, my partner in crime, as always, ready to defraud my beneficiaries if I fake my own death. It's Matt Layton. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Steve. I notice you're still breathing. I need my money.
Yes, well, obviously, clearly, the very dint that I am speaking, ergo I'm breathing, and still here, still doing the thing, and you'll never get my money, or my beneficiaries won't get it anyway,
and I probably won't get your beneficiaries either. Now,
keep my beneficiaries out of this. Stop touching my beneficiaries.
Friends with beneficiaries. So before we get into this slightly long and convoluted the way that we come to be talking about Fletch this week, which involves many steps and many silly clips, can I please do a couple of notes from the margin? Okay.
Away.
Notes from the margin is the bit where you and I talk about not necessarily reviewing an audiobook, but as lovers of audiobooks, stuff that comes up that is perhaps procedural or practical to do with it. I have a complaint. I'm going to write a letter to Audible, because on my app it's updated recently, and whereas before it used to have the home button, the store button, and my library, now the library button has been replaced with a button that says stuff. This, to me, Steve, is the beginning of the end. It's a drop. When I have a library, I've got something like you only have in a posh mansion. With stuff, that's basically, well, frankly, the room you're sitting in, Steve.
It's dumbing down. It's a slippery slope, really. It's Audible dumbing down here, clearly, by just replacing the word library, which is a lovely, refined word. It makes you, and you know what? Ever since we started doing this, I've never read so much, and I feel nourished, mentally nourished by the fact that I'm going into my library and listening to a book, ingesting, essentially reading with my ears.
No, it's just stuff now.
It's just stuff.
That's all it is.
Although I will say this, actually, and you won't be able to see this on screen, but my app does say library still. I haven't got the stuff yet.
Maybe I've been downgraded.
I think you've been done.
Dear sirs, I was most upset and disappointed.
Right to Barry Took on points of view.
I think he's been defunded, mate, to be honest with you. All right, listen, that's my complaint. Also, the price of audiobook credits has gone up along with everything else. But to be honest, that's a bit of a first world problem. And I think everything is going up in price at the moment.
Everything.
So, there you go. Cutting edge consumer journalism for you there.
I know. The shipping costs of getting an audiobook to your phone have gone up immeasurably, which is why the prices have risen, obviously.
I have to say, we've been getting away with it for about 6 or 7 years. Maybe it was about time. All right. Can I start my long chain of things that brought us to reading Fletch the book? My long and torturous story, hopefully involving some comedy clips that will make people laugh. So my comedy chain starts, we'll eventually get to Chevy Chase, who starred in the movie Fletch, and how we read the audiobook in a second. But instead we're going to start in the early 90s, where you and I, as residents of the UK, admired a young Scottish comedian called Craig Ferguson. Craig Ferguson then got a job in the United States, and goodness knows how, as the presenter of one of their late night talk shows. of which you and I are both fans, aren't we, Steve?
We are both big fans.
We like the format. We like your David Lettermans and your Jay Leno's of the past. And
although, actually, just one small point here on the late night talk shows, actually, in America, and I love all of them. Like, Jimmy Kimmel, Colbert is brilliant, especially Stephen Colbert, actually, given his take on the political events that go on right now. But when he does jokes about the UK, he just goes right back to the stereotypical, way back in the 50s when they were taking the mickey out of us having plummy accents and all this sort of stuff, and it's just really lame.
Is it all pea
soapboxing for me?
Is it all pea soup as Mary Poppins?
Yeah, it completely. Yeah, it is. It's just a bit of it. He kind of lets himself down with that. That's the only bit. It sounds like he's not. If you watch someone like John Oliver, who's made it big in America as well from the UK, he's brilliant in his own right, well informed, blah blah blah. But when Colbert he just comes across as ill-informed a little bit, because he just assumes, hey, all limeys talk like whatever, and we'll talk like we're like someone's butler all the time, and it gets on my wick, and you can use that in your monologue. Yes, of course he won't.
You got to watch those Americans though, because they come over with their chocolate and their nylons and they steal our women, Steve.
Well, yeah. Well, frankly, if I see any of them coming over here and doing that, what's gonna push my buttons? They come over here and start, just doing impressions of butlers like we're all in Downton Abbey. Because frankly, not round my way, we're not. So yeah.
This was long and convoluted enough without you interfering, pal.
Sorry about that.
Wind your neck in.
Let's move from tangent 2 back to tangent 1 before we get to core subjects.
Back to the main tangent. So last year I ended up, because everything is available on YouTube, if there are any Americans listening still, though I doubt it, they probably don't understand that as ever present as those shows are in the United States, occasionally you'll find David Letterman or Jimmy Kimmel on at 1 o'clock in the morning on an obscure channel somewhere, but most of the time we don't have those shows in the UK. And about this time last year, I started watching some Craig Ferguson. It was Our Boy Done Good. And I enjoyed watching his interviews with the likes of Justin Timberlake and the bloke who used to play Doogie Howser. And then one late evening, as I was into my cups in my garden in my special chair, watching my Craig Ferguson, a man by the name of Bill Maher came on, who I'd never heard of. And this is what Bill Maher said.
I always sort of defended him. Jay and I used to have this argument because he would do a lot of Michael Jackson jokes, and I would say, Jay, I did O.J. Simpson jokes because I knew he killed his wife. I don't know if Michael Jackson is,
right.
little boys.
Right.
Having watched the trial now, I think it's much more likely, but I also think that there is no perspective. People have no perspective, especially about crime, zero tolerance. Now, of course, nobody ever wants to see a child, diddled. That's just plain wrong. But even the people who are testifying against him, they're saying that he serviced them. They didn't service him.
You don't have kids, do you, Bill?
No,
I have a son. It makes me crazy, this Michael Jackson thing. It drives me, the idea of someone touching my kid.
Right.
I would nearly swore that. I'd go crazy.
Very wrong.
Yeah.
But, I remember when I was a kid, I was savagely beaten once by bullies in the schoolyard. Savagely beaten. If I had a choice between being savagely beaten and being gently masturbated by a pop star, it's just me.
The always controversial Bill Maher, everybody.
That's it.
It's somewhat edgy, that, isn't it?
The funniest bit about that is the fact that Craig Ferguson cut him off when he did. That's comic timing right there for you,
It's absolutely... I like to go up to the edge and push the boundaries as hard as I think that is over the boundaries.
Yeah.
But it did make me want to explore who this new person I'd never seen before, who wasn't as good as Doogie Howser, who he was and what he was about. And it turns out, again, that, he's had a show in America every week for the last 30 years. Admittedly, it's on cable channels, and I'd never encountered him. Have you encountered him, Steve?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, so Real Time, I think his show is, isn't it? And I think he was on ABC, but then he got kicked off. And I can't remember why. It might have been something he said.
Well, I think the title of the show on NBC in the 1990s was politically incorrect. So I think the clue may be in the title there. I don't know what the incident was. And again, please, if we do have any American listeners left, I apologise for my ignorance. You
could have shortened that sentence. If we do have any listeners.
I apologise for being ignorant of your national icon. As well as doing his mainstream show this year, he has started doing something called Club Random. And what he does is he has as you would do if you were a major network star in the United States and had loads of money, Steve, you'd have a big mansion with the man cave in the basement that's done up like a nightclub and has a bar in it. And what he does now is he says he wants more relaxed and honest and free-form and unstructured conversations with people who he likes and admires or thinks are interesting. He's had various sports people on. He's had, I think the latest one was Kid Rock. I also seem to remember one of the blokes out of Van Halen being there. Piers Morgan's been on, and they locked horns on various things. But he sits there pouring them drinks from behind his bar and smoking what he refers to as clove cigarettes. And yeah, Steve, I don't know about you, but I have always categorically refused to have any intoxicating substances near a microphone. And I think a lot of what Birmar does, I appreciate what he's trying to do, is be a bit more open and honest and get people in a relaxed environment. But alcohol and microphones don't mix, do they, Steve?
Well, no. I mean, it depends. I mean, having seen some of the Club Random clips myself, I mean, they're not they don't sort of collapse their giggling on weed, do they, after 20 minutes?
No, but he does lose his thread quite a lot. He's not as sharp as he is on the other things that he does, and I don't know. I think it's a fair warning to anybody who wants to do broadcasting of why, if you've got somebody who we would give our right arms to interview, please don't stuff it up by not quite being on your game. I mean, for me, I've been known to like a drink, but I just can't. I can't go near a mic. I don't even tweet when I've had a drink.
No, some of your best lines come out, actually, I think, in our past history when you've been drunk. But I think that I completely agree with you. I can't, when it comes to working, behind a mic or any other thing, I just can't drink. I can't do it. It's just, how can you possibly function properly or get the points you want to get across without becoming rambling, as I'm doing now because I've had a drink. I'm only joking. I have not had a drink.
Well, maybe there's the magic pool window. The thing where you suddenly become an amazing pool player between pints 2 and pints 3. Yeah. And then after that, it's all horrible. I think there may be a thing like that. It's the old thing about Larry Hagman, isn't it? Which I love, which is apparently when he was filming Dallas, he would start in his trailer at 6 o'clock in the morning with a bottle of chilled champagne, and he said he would never get drunk, but he would maintain that 2 glasses of champagne buzz until filming finished at 9 o'clock at night. So whenever I go on an all-dayer, I refer to it as I'm going on a Hagman.
I think that's just made me recall the Bill Bailey routine about drinking along a Dallas. It's it's the worst drinking game you could possibly play, because whenever they have a drink, you have a drink.
Oh, right. Okay.
Watching Dallas, yeah.
But again, that was the way to do business in the 70s and 80s. Our generation can't hold our liquor at lunchtime anymore.
He said the first episode when he played that drinking game was the oil baron's ball and you got paralytic.
Good. Well, at least we're keeping it focused on the demographic here, Steve.
Yeah.
Big up the teenagers.
Shouldn't be telling other people's jokes as well, because some of us have come a bit of a cropper in bigger showbiz circles than this podcast as well.
It's all right.
Recently.
It's us, Steve. No one will notice.
Yeah, no one noticed. No.
Right. Steve said I had to channel my inner partridge. Right, here goes nothing. Oh, hello there. You've caught me editing this week's edition of Audio Book Club. Steve's not here at the moment. He's probably drinking Tramp's strength cider until his skin falls off, or getting a pedicure. While he's away, I thought I'd take the time to tell you about my day job. I work for Vision Australia Radio in Australia. It's a network of 11 radio stations in places like Perth, Darwin, Melbourne, and my own home city of Adelaide, where I am living 10,000 miles away from my actual home, totally against my will. It was set up in the 1980s to read newspapers to blind people and what used to be called the print handicapped. You can't use that term anymore, you have to say dyslexic. But I've always liked the term word lazy. After 35 years on air, they decided that rather than just talking to people who are blind or vision impaired, they wanted to get the voice of blind and vision impaired people on the radio. And that's where I came in, because fortunately, I was born with congenital cataracts and I'm now severely sight impaired. I present a show called Studio One, your weekly look at life from a low vision or blind point of view on the network. And if I do say so myself, it's going rather well. On next week's show, I shall be speaking to the man who teaches Hollywood actors how to be blind. Here's a little advert that I carefully and lovingly handcrafted for the show. Matthew here from Studio One. On this week's show,
centuries from now, almost all humans have lost the ability to see.
the man who teaches Hollywood stars
Some say sight was taken from them by God
how to act blind.
to heal the earth. For the few who remain, vision is only a myth.
His name is Joe Strechay, and he worked on Marvel's Daredevil and Apple TV's C with Jason Momoa. Tune in, please. Wednesday at 8.
On Vision Australia Radio, VA Radio Digital, and online at varadio.org.
Well, obviously, you won't be able to tune in on Wednesday at 8 because you don't live in Adelaide. Well, you probably don't live in Adelaide. Lucky you. I'll put a link in the podcast description. Use the discount code AudioBookClub Blindy69. Now we gently return you to your regular Audiobook Club programming with Steve and me from the past. Right, back to the main tangent. The main tangent is then, a week before last, Chevy Chase was Bill Maher's guest. Now, Chevy Chase, for those who don't know, was a big comedy star in the 1970s and 80s. He came through again, back to America, the Saturday Night Live stable. So he was contemporaries on that with the likes of Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi. I would say, Steve, that Chevy Chase was the 1980s equivalent of Will Ferrell. Would you agree with that?
Yes. Yes, I would.
Or would you have to claim ignorance?
No, I think Will Ferrell is a bit more bombastic, I think. Chevy Chase just sort of, I don't know, just Yeah, Chevy Chase is good, but I've always just seen him as part of an ensemble. I've never really. Do you know what? To be honest, doing him a disservice, I've never been close enough to his work to actually sort of see him on his own, because he's always been kind of in ensemble pieces.
Yeah, so he's Saturday Night Live, the National Lampoon's films. The one I remember from watching on blurry VHS video in the 1980s were European Vacation and Class Reunion, the National Lampoon's Class Reunion. And again, it was that when I was 12, that's what I thought was funny. And another way you might know him is if you watch Paul Simon's Graceland video, he is the strange 6'6", gangly, middle-aged comedian dancing alongside Paul Simon in that video.
This is the thing. He's very good with his height, isn't he? He's very comedic. He's very funny with with his physicality.
Yes,
really funny with his physicality. Yeah, certainly. I'll give him that.
Okay, now I've lost track again. I think we have another clip. So I hadn't seen Chevy Chase for about 30 years, and I think Chevy Chase is a place, isn't it? It's like one of those islands in New England or something weird like that. Again, excuse my ignorance. But if you could play clip 2, Steve, the guy was he came on and he looked like Chevy Chase playing an old man. He had large ears, long straggly white hair, 6'6" of him folded into a chair, and there was a little bit of me thinking of our stuff on the Thursday Murder Club, where that may look like an old person, but they've got more experience, knowledge, and in this case, wit than people of our age. So in the Bill Maher interview, Chevy Chase is folded all 6'6" of him into this rather uncomfortable looking chair, and he's sitting there just looking like an old man wearing comfortable clothes, and he's got a scrappy white t-shirt underneath him. It says Jesus Farmer on it.
How about this shirt?
Jesus Farmers. Is that what that says? Jesus Farmers?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Who the fuck knows?
Right.
I just had it made. I had these made. They're going to go big. I'm sorry. How you see T-shirts.
Right.
You're not sure what it is or means.
Chevy, are you circumcised?
I used to be.
You used to be.
But he's just that quick still.
He's very, that's good.
There were little bits where the interview felt that you were seeing the husk of the man that was, but just the whole. I've made these T-shirts. They say Jesus Farmer, like other T-shirts where you don't know what the hell it's on about. These ones are going to be big, and then to so quickly go from "Are you circumcised?" He goes, "I was." Just to still be that sharp is amazing.
That underlines the case, isn't he? That I don't know whether, because I haven't seen this video that you have. Was Chevy Chase on the source as well as Bill Maher?
I don't think he was. I think he was on the. I think he was on the water. Yeah, exactly. If you're going to be,
because you know what, it underlines things. Sorry to talk over you there. It's a podcasting rule completely smashed there. But when you deliver a line that you think is funny and it hits the mark and you get a great reaction from people, it's just the best feeling. It's better than getting drunk, to be honest, for me anyway, because I've done a bit of stand-up. Well, I say I did a course, not stand-up at all by any stretch, but when you say something that makes other people laugh, it is the best feeling in the world, and it just underlines that. Don't just, kids, if you're listening out there, when you go on a podcast with Bill Maher, just say no. Just say no.
Don't do jokes. That's what you're basically saying.
Drink. You can do drinks. Drinks provoke the desire, but they take away the performance.
Good. Right, reeling it back in. So Chevy Chase in a chair. There, Chevy Chase is still funny, even at the age of 79. I won't be that funny when I'm 79. And it reminds you of what a big superstar he was. And the one film where he wasn't in an ensemble cast, where he became a star in his own right and led or carried a film was the film Fletch. And just as I finished watching that interview, the audiobook of Fletch popped up in the free bit of Audible. So I thought it was destiny and that we had to read this book. And that's why I made you sit through it, Steve.
Okay, I got you. So Audible giving the away for free, does that negate the whole fact that you've now got the word stuff instead of library on your app?
Actually, I would... you know what? We're 25 minutes into this. We haven't got to the audiobook yet. I think I might have to confess that
let's just go.
This one, as much as we try really hard, if we recommend an audiobook, it's because we are confident that if somebody who listens to this podcast were to spend £7, $15 on an audiobook on our recommendation and then be forced to spend 15 hours in the company of that audiobook had better be something good. And those are normally the books we recommend. In this case, we're in the bargain bin again. We're in the free bit. I actually possibly would confess that this isn't as serious as we normally are, and that this one might actually be stuff. But it's very enjoyable stuff. It's not going to change the world, this book, but I enjoyed my time with it.
I see. Yeah. I think. Do you know? I had not quite the same feeling as you when I listened to this book, because I know Chevy Chase, have not seen Fletch. Know what he's like as a comedian and seen obviously National Lampoons like you have, and one or two other things. He's in Community as well. That's his most sort of recent notable work, of course. Was that the book sounds nothing like it. I do not picture Chevy Chase in here. What I pictured was kind of a sort of cliched 70s, don't care, you're going to get fired if you don't play by the rules, Fletch. I don't care. Yeah, I'll do. And of course, he's going to slam dunk and be the hero and everything. And so to that end, I kind of found it like, oh, it's just the next cab off the rank kind of, I didn't want to feel that, because actually what it did do was made me sort of go away, because I can't picture Chevy Chase in this role. This the way it was being read, the words, of course, of the book. It feels like it was a completely different character, to be honest with you. It felt like this kind of sort of smooth, kind of sweet, sort of sharp talking guy, master of disguise and so on. And then I saw the clips of it drove me to actually go to try and see. I couldn't see that Fletch isn't streaming nowhere, by the way. I went onto clips of YouTube, best of Fletch. You see how superficial I am. Best of Fletch clips, and Chevy Chase was him doing pratfalls. He was doing pratfalls and dropping paper and stuff,
and wearing fake beards, from what I remember. I haven't revisited the film. Because we've taken so long to get to this point, I'm going to do the bit we're meant to do that we normally take 20 minutes over in as short a time as I can. So we'll start with the author. Gregory Mcdonald was born February the 15th, 1937, died September the 7th, 2008. He was an American mystery writer whose most famous character is the comedy investigative reporter Erwin Morris Fletcher. Two of the Fletch books earned Edgar Awards from the Mystery Writers of America. Fletch was named Best First Novel in 1975, and then the follow-up one in 1977. MacDonald would go on to write 9 more Fletch novels. I've read a couple of them. They're not quite as good as the first one. The original book became a 1985 movie of the same name starring Chevy Chase. In the film and in the book, Fletch is a journalist working undercover on the hunt for a drug dealing ring at a beach in a Californian town. He's barefoot. He spends a lot of the time drinking beer. He does such a good job of going undercover as a wastrel drug addict that actually somebody, as heard in the clip at the beginning, invites him to commit a crime, to murder him, because supposedly he's dying of cancer. It turns out that Fletch is a compulsive liar. He has some swagger. The thing that differentiates him from 6'6" middle-aged Chevy Chase in the film is that he is in his 20s and apparently irresistible to women, which I guess is part of his swagger. There's also a bit which you can't avoid that wouldn't go down in the current day and age, which is as part of his undercover, as part of his cover, he ends up starting a very inappropriate relationship with a 15-year-old female drug addict. And some of the attitudes in this film are not what we could condone. So the book is actually a little bit heavier than the 1980s screwball comedy with the Harold Faltermeyer theme tune, isn't it? I think.
Oh, it just feels like it was having come fresh to both things. It just felt like poles apart. However, I will say, so I didn't quite enjoy the book as much, I think, because of that, because I was expecting zany, wacky stuff, trying to picture Chevy Chase in the book. But I will say, when I first started listening to it, painting the side gate as I was last weekend, which was generally how I listen to stuff by doing other stuff, was that it really hooked you in from the first sentence. The story hooked you in. There was no faff. There was no kind of, setting the scene necessarily. It was just like straight up the conversation between, I can't remember the guy's name now. The guy who wanted him to kill him.
Well, look, that's part of the point, isn't it? I can't remember the bloke's name either. This is, I'll tell you what this is, Steve. This is a slightly battered, yellowing paperback book that you found in somebody else's holiday home from the 1970s with a bright orange cover with the bits where it gets folded and the white underneath the orange cracks show through. Yeah. The pages are yellow. It's got that smell of old book to it. It's a pleasant diversion. I take comfort in the fact that we are not asking people to spend any money to listen to this, but if you're in the mood for a beachside throwaway disposable piece of and I guess a bit of an artefact of the time. This was award-winning back in the day. I think today it doesn't really quite stand up to scrutiny. Let's touch on the narration and performance. Dan John Miller recorded this in 2018. I think his performance was adequate. As always, I would say it's better than I would have been able to do it. I have a slight problem with his portrayal of female characters when he puts on the lady voice. Again, I think that feels outdated and outmoded, but who knows? Perhaps they would argue that was a deliberate thing to do. So we spent 25 minutes not talking about the book. We spent 5 minutes talking about the book. I think that's indicative of how much we like the book, really, isn't it, Steve? And the mood with which we invite our gentle listener to visit this historical curio, rather than saying this is a book that's going to change your life. I think you're right. It's a fair reflection. And by the way, we should really apologise to you, good listener, because this is one thing I can't stand about podcasts. It's when people blether on for ages about inane, about nothing to do with the title of the podcast until 25 minutes in. So sorry about that. Won't happen again. We'll be talking we'll get straight into the next book next week. Promise. I think we weren't that bad, Steve. But let's talk about next week. Bless you. Okay, so if our good listeners want to get involved with Audiobook Club, what should we be listening to next week, Matt? Next week, Steve, on your recommendation, we are going to spend some time with Andrew Marr's History of Modern Britain. Andrew Marr, very much in the public eye at the moment, having moved away from our beloved BBC to a commercial rival. He used to be the BBC's head political correspondent. I love learning stuff from audiobooks, Steve. I'm looking forward to this, and a good recommendation. I haven't started it yet, but I'm looking forward to getting stuck in.
Yeah, I think. Yeah,
you've read it already, haven't you?
Yeah, I've read it already, and I started re-listening to it as well after we talked about doing it last week. And I think you'll really enjoy it. I kind of halted a bit on Fletch, paused for a little bit, and got a bit of Andrew Marr sort of sandwich in between as a little taster to keep me going with Fletch, I think.
So that thing where a book is so good you can put it down. The book I've actually recommended this week, you've put it down. Is that what you're saying? I'm
so sorry. I didn't mean to put it down. I just ended up putting. No, please don't cancel the podcast because of this little blip.
Can I just say that after Andrew Marr's History of Modern Britain, it's very interesting that what we learn about history in British schools. At some point in the future, I would like to read about the times Britain lost or did bad things, because basically, if you listen to what you're told in school in the United Kingdom about British history, you don't hear about the American War of Independence, do you?
No, not very much. No, you don't. No, nothing. No.
And you know the bits where the Hudson's Bay Company went to Canada and gave people blankets infected with malaria to reduce the native population. You don't really hear about those bits when you're studying for your GCSEs, do you?
Really hear about that? No. You really should start hearing about that fairness and everything. That's what the British are about, fair play. So let's have a bit of balance. Instead of this biased, slanted news, fake news.
So yeah, I'm looking for something an alternative history of some kind at some point in the future. But before that, in our fiction non-fiction way, I've noticed there is a new production that Audible are publicising quite heavily. Not all of these things are good. It's called Geneva. It's by Richard Armitage. The reason I'm prepared to read it is because it's got Nicola Walker in it, who you and I both know as Ruth from Spooks, or as they had to call it in the United States, MI6, I think. That one is an Audible original. It's called Geneva, and I think we should do that one next.
That's interesting, actually. Richard Armitage is quite an accomplished actor himself, so interesting to sort of see him writing. So, yeah, we'll look forward to that as well.
Good.
Shall we wrap the podcast up?
Yeah, wrap the podcast. End this banal wittering now.
Well, on behalf of Audiobook Club, we apologise for the banal nature of this podcast this week. It can't guarantee it won't be the same next week, to be frank. But I think, to be honest, if you've been a regular listener to Audiobook Club, you'll kind of get the cut of our jib, if you know what I mean. So that was Fletch by Gregory Mcdonald, narrated by Dan John Miller. Comes in at a fairly palatable 5 hours 57 minutes, actually. It was released about 4 years ago now, in 2018, published by Blackstone Audio. And that about wraps up for this week's Audiobook Club. If you do want to get involved, just use our hashtag AudiobookClub. Let us know what you're listening to and actually recommend something for us, because otherwise we'll start reviewing stuff that otherwise we'll have another episode of banality.
Oh God, you're right. Yeah, we've hit our nadir. We desperately need help now. And if you are a regular listener to Audiobook Club, Nurse will be along soon, and it's rissoles for tea because it's Tuesday.
Absolutely right. And because we've hit our nadir, we'd like you to bring your own nadir, because you can only hit nadir once. Okay, that's the rule. Anyway, thanks, Matt. We'll see each other next week, eh?
Thank you, Steve.
Ta-da for now. God. Oh, right.